I did a post-graduation in architecture, and I came back to Goa, and then I had to jump into my family business, which is as simple as transportation. The little floral name to that is logistics.
It was 2020, somewhere on the third week of March, the lockdown was announced. And when that lockdown happened, everybody got stranded where they were in India.
So I have a logistic company which is over maybe 70 years or so, and I run that. Because my father started that company with a capex of 50 paisa.
And as Goa is a tourist place, there were many people who were stranded here. And we used to read the news, we used to see it on Instagram. People were posting that the restaurants are closed, hotels are closed, they have nothing to eat and stuff.
That on one side, I had a degree which is very, very glamorous, very, very creative. And on the other side, you had a business which primarily dealt with someone who were not skilled and semi-skilled people.
What can I do for that? So we thought, okay, how about procuring some grains, dal, rice, and distributing among people, so that they have at least they can cook something. But then we were speaking to one of the corporators, and he said that look, people need cooked food. They don't need just raw food. Where will they cook?
But somewhere down the line, I also kept feeding my soul, and my soul really truly demands that I do these creative things because that's something which draws me. It's the vibration that kind of that I resonate with, and these are things that are my real true calling.
So I started to cook for about 60 to 70 people, and the reason I was cooking here is because A, I wanted to help somebody. B, I had the place where I stay. We've got two families who live on the property with us who help us around the house.
I don't practice too much of architecture. I do it by choice, where I can see something which is demanding. Like I'm designing a school for St. Andrew now. We are working on a concept of freedom. We have designed that school almost a school without walls. So it's a little futuristic kind of an ideation. Let's see how it shapes up, but that's my line of thinking.
See, I would get up in the morning, shower, get ready, cook for that many number of people, and by 12:30 they would come to collect the food, and by 3 o'clock they would come and return the empty, big pots to us. So, there was something, a feel good factor, a feeling of day well spent, because if I didn't do that, what else could I do in that whole day?
But coming to my brand, that sort of made me a little known element around, and even in India, and probably to far off places in the near future.
By around the end of April, I was told that most of the people have now left. They have gone back to where they came from. We don't need you to cook food anymore. And suddenly, 1st of May, as I got up and I realized I don't have anything to do now. I mean, how many books can I read? How many movies can I see? And how many online programs can I do? So there was nothing to do, and I was very, very upset that what do I do? How do I fill my time? How do I give a structure to my day? It's very important for the day to be structured. So that's when I started baking. I used to love baking earlier also. I started baking. I started gifting it to a couple of friends here and there for my staff and all that. And finally, one of my neighbors, his wedding anniversary was there on 18th of May, and he says, by 17th May, I want a cake and I'm going to pay you for it. I said, oh my God, if you pay me for it, I cannot accept it because I'm not a professional chef. I am just doing it out of hobby. So he says, if you don't take the money, then I will not take the cake.
So the least I could do is not to patronize foreign products. And so I decided at that very moment that I will not use any foreign products or MNC brand. So all my Levi's, Lee, Benetton, my toothpaste, my colognes, my jeans, all were kind of thrown out. So the next question came as to what am I supposed to be doing now, because I'm primarily a very casual man in terms of my dressing. So I needed jeans and t-shirts. So I found an Indian brand, Flying Machine, but I could not find a good t-shirt.
So that's when I desperately started hunting for a pastry chef. And there was a pastry chef, Mr. Schubert. He somebody recommended him. He met me, and I told him that for whatever it is worth, we'll work only for the next 3 months, because I was assuming that COVID is going to go for 3 months, and it's just a matter of 2 to 3 months that we have to somehow pass this time. That happened, and we were cooking from my home kitchen only. I have an oven there, so we were just baking cakes, and he's a wonderful chef, so he was really doing the cakes up very nicely, and we started putting it on Instagram and everything, and people loved it, and started getting orders. So I was getting enough orders to be able to pay my chef.
Let's start a brand that would project India in terms of its creative ethos, history, heritage, and all that we could try and put it around in humor. So the name Nirvana came in because Nirvana is liberation. It's like that sudden sense of freedom, and our catchline was, let's get liberated from this idea that only foreign products are good.
We had to start doing more things. So we started doing cinnamon rolls, anything and everything to do with bakery. Then I decided that since I love bao buns so much, I'm very fond of baos, and bao is basically a steamed bun. And I said, let me experiment with that. So a couple of times I experimented with the recipe of baos. So I started doing not the stuffed baos, the folded baos, and I started doing fillings, either chicken or vegetarian, different types of fillings with different flavors in them, and started again putting it out there. Now I had to take a name. I just can't say Sneha's shop or Sneha's bakes or anything. So I gave it a name for whatever it's worth. I said, okay, how about chai coffee? Everybody wants to have tea coffee. So, chalo, cafe chai coffee.
We went down south, and we kind of met up with my fellow contacts who thought I was joking, because that's the impression people have, that I'm always fooling around. But that's not what it is. I am like pretty hardworking in that sense. It's like a swan swimming, over water. Everyone thinks, "Ye to kuch nahi kar raha hai."
Since I'm very compliant legally also, I told my team in Pune who handle my IPR. So they put for the trademark, and we got the TM also in a couple of months.
So, so the swan, it swims, it swims, and no one sees the paddling below the water. And this is what business is all about, or life is all about. You have to continuously put in a lot of effort to see that you only float, and then you swim, and then you try to swim better.
So a couple of my friends said, Ki, why don't you put 2 chairs here and a table, and you have such lovely bakes. Just make us some homemade chai, and that is enough. So anyway, the name was Cafe Chai Coffee. we decided to invest a little bit more money and make that little outhouse a little better. We just did up the area a little bit, good enough for about 2 to 3 tables. Now, because 2 to 3 tables were there, the team had to become bigger because he's a pastry chef. I needed hot kitchen chefs, I needed service staff. So somehow through contacts, we hired 1 or 2 people and we got going.
And we like any ordinary sales boy, sales girl, moved around carrying our own bags from shop to shop. And when the shopkeeper is to see that the card which said the managing director of Nirvana Arts, and they said, "Oh, y'all are the owners, and y'all have come yourself." I said, "Yeah. So what happens? I have come because I want to understand what's the reaction that I get for what I have done." And so they, "अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है वो रख दो थोड़ा 4-5 रख दो," whatever. So we kept all over the place, and कल आ जाना. So when we went the next day, all the stocks were sold in all the shops, and so we were happy, and that's how we made a start.
So, because the name is Bowwitch, it obviously implies a fusion sandwich Bowwitch. So, it is largely an Asian menu. And then I started working with the Asian chefs, and we took Bowwitch to the next level by introducing, let's say, teriyaki bao, Szechuan bao, and the chili basil bao, and then added the Goan flavors to it, the kafrial bao, the reshad bao, the Italian bao. Now, who would ever think of an Italian bao?
The other thing that happened again was the Levi's Benetton was around 400. Our pricing was 299, 100 rupees less than the MNC branding. And the two things happened with that kind of pricing. One was because of my central idea that I don't believe in competing with fellow Indian brands because they are all मेरा भाई लोग है. और दूसरी बात ये है कि my real benchmark is the foreign products because they are global brands, and you have to really benchmark something which is much higher than you. You are not going to go and compete with someone and go down on pricing and all. So as I said, two things happened. One was I had a larger margin of profitability, and the second thing happened, it became an aspiration brand.
But because Bowwitch started getting its own identity, and people started saying, I want a Bowwitch. Then I said, okay, like I told you, I wanted that brand. Now, the good thing that happened with that brand is, since some people from the airport, TFS, they came to my cafe and they liked the brand so much that they insisted that we have it at the GMR airport, the new airport at Mopa. So we went through a couple of trials, we did some tests, and Bowwitch was approved, and we are at the departure gates number 12, and arrival, we are just right next to Starbucks at the Mopa airport.
It grew on the idea that number one was its lateral thinking, and the kind of artwork that I did and later on my team did was something that was very, very unique. I also went to the local flea market, put a shenri ko kya bolte hai yaar, what do you call it? Shenri as in like a mat, okay, at the flea market, and I was sitting there among the hippies, and someone saw and they went and told my uncle, that guy is sitting in the flea market with these hippies and selling banyans. But what I'm trying to say is this was the passion, that you're ready to do whatever it takes to see that it succeed. And finally it grew up to be a national brand.
Because it's doing well at the airport, why don't I now start expanding Bowwitch? In here at the Cafe Chai Coffee venue, it is as a restaurant menu. Okay, so it comes in a proper cutlery, crockery, and everything, the way you would be served in a restaurant. Now, when you go to a QSR menu, you would go in, let's say, boxes, and it has from the time the order is given to the time the order comes out, is just about 3 minutes to 4 minutes and things like that. So, to try this experiment, I took on a shop in Margao, which is about 200 square feet, and I decided to work it as a QSR menu. But however, being the person that I am, I wanted to add few more things, few more dishes which were working very well in this restaurant. And before I realized it, I was trying to actually create a smaller version of a restaurant there. See, QSR means you have only X amount of dishes, very few. And you work with those, you give those, you make money on those, you sell those, and that's your business model. Whereas in a restaurant, you have many more dishes. But in my head, I thought like, let me get some more things which people will enjoy there. Now that was a mistake.
My next line of thinking in Nirvana is how do I touch lives? So we're coming with, and also when you go on a global platform, you will be competing there. Nirvana doesn't believe in competition; it creates its own competition.
Whatever business that I may have been involved in, unless there is passion, I'll not go ahead with it. So I just say what you see of Cafe Chai Coffee today is purely passion. So when you have passion for the work that you do, you take the right decisions for that. Like for example, I'll tell you, I will not compromise on ingredient quality, or I will not compromise on hiring good people even if they come at an extra price, or I will not compromise on let's say providing the correct ambience for my guests, because this is what they come for here. They come to enjoy the vibe, they come to enjoy the trees, the greenery, the forest, the chirping of the birds, the peacocks that you see occasionally, and during rainy season you even might see porcupines. So you see so much of and monkeys, don't forget the monkeys, they are everywhere. But they don't come to they are so smart, they don't come to the cafe during our working hours, they only come before 9 o'clock. And it's a pleasure to see them sitting all over around, but they know that the moment the music starts here, which is at about 9:15, we put some bhajans and all, because 10 o'clock is our official opening time. By 9:30, 9:40, very obediently they go back to the forest. And we've planted in that forest a lot of banana trees for them, which we don't consume, but we look after those banana trees because we want the monkeys to have them. I don't know why he joined architecture, but I joined because um, the other colleges admissions.
She didn't get admission in medical college.
No. I got admission in dental college, by the way. But I was on the waiting list. And the results were to be waiting list. Results aane wale the 2 weeks later. So my parents said, architecture mein mil gaya, chale jao. For parents of my generation, it was you've got to be an engineer, architect, doctor, dentist, because my dad's a dentist. He was very happy I got into dental college. But 2 weeks of architecture changed me. I said, this is fun, yeah. And when did you meet me, Raj?
So for me, my journey started with a visit to Goa College of Engineering. And after seeing that barren, parched piece of land, I came to Panjim. And then I entered GCA,
Architecture College.
Goa College of Architecture. It is like a small block of four apartments, you can say. And right from gate till the admission form, which was in the office, I saw only the opposite gender. And I was wondering, in engineering, I saw so many guys, and here was like a green pasture, and that was the reason why I joined architecture, actually.
Just for the girls, huh?
And of course, Panjim. I had decided to be an engineer, but destiny drew me towards Savitri Nivas College, and that's where I met her. And that's how.
We were just friends. I mean, there was nothing like, we were just friends. And so my maiden name was Rano Bajwa, so RB, and he's Raj Bhandare. So somehow, how in a class of 20, people start teasing you and RB, but they put it in your head. But then my dad got transferred out when I was in third grade. Third year, he was in the army. So in fourth year, I went to the hostel. So then we became better friends, because what happens when you're all alone, you need support system around you, So we were a group of friends, of which he was one of them.
She was
And
actually basically looking for cheap labor to do the submission.
look at that. He would help me in my submissions, but I wasn't looking for cheap labor. अरे सब seniors का काम juniors करते थे तभी. So we had a lot of juniors who would do our work, and he was very good with sketching, and I wasn't. So if I needed any help to sketch on my work, so he would come and help.
Since she was into post graduation, it becomes very difficult, that the would-be wife is postgraduate and you are like one
Just a
Pedro
graduate.
with a with a degree,
No,
a
no,
graduate
nothing
degree.
like that.
So then I also decided I'll
Yeah.
do post-graduation,
No.
and that was a turning point because I left Goa and I became street smart. I learned many things to be independent, to kind of carry on work. That would demand everything. It was a learning process. It is the most liberating time I had, away from home, away from being protected.
Mama's boy.
Yeah, more like a mama boy.
So
and-
tell them that we didn't study masters in the same place. You went to Delhi, I went to Ahmedabad, and that was intentionally decided like that. Because you see, by fifth year we knew that we liked each other a lot. But I just told him, like, you never know. We're just so young. You just might later on realize that we are not meant for each other. How do we do that? So let's not study PG at the same place. It was a very conscious decision, very mature decision for people of at that time at our age. So we were apart for quite some time, 2 years then, and then hence 1 year more. And then we said we still have to want to get married, so we got married.
So then, coming back to work, she doesn't come from a business family. I come from a business family. I come from a Goan setup. She comes from
An army setup.
army setup. So there were many things, but it's also a beautiful fusion because you bring the best
Yeah.
of two worlds.
On a personal front, we are as different as chalk and cheese. I mean, it's we are looking very calm and collected here because you guys are recording. But अगर ये नहीं होता, and if you see us on the site which is going on there where we are designing a banquet, I mean, we are very different because he's very artistic. He has a certain vision. I am more practical. If we are doing something, where is the buffet table going to go? How many? Oh, you can't have it so big, Raj, because it'll look too big, or you can't have it this small. I need the tables here. But he's like more on the proportion, how the things will look in a larger framework.
A good person becomes a better person when he or she finds a good partner. The man is benefits more because men tend to be immature, more wired differently. So the women in his life is the one that, where the saying goes, behind every successful man there is a woman, and I must give the credit to her right from this idea about Nirvana, which happened in the loo. And I came out and he said, let's start a company. And without thinking for a moment, she said, okay, let's get it done.
And finally, at the back of our mind, though we are from different cultures, I'm a Punjabi, he's a Goan, one thing was very certain: the marriage is for keeps. We have to work at a marriage. It's like anything. In your business, like I was telling you earlier on, you have to work at your business. You have to be passionate about your business. You have to be disciplined about your business. Same thing about marriage.
It's like a swan swimming, over water. Everyone thinks, "ये तो कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, ऐसे पानी में." Thanks for that, I could breathe.
So basically, a bao was a container. It's a bread. It's a container which has different flavors.
I call it affordable art because when I sell my painting or my installation, they run in a few lakhs of rupees. But my T-shirt, which is again my art, is something which is 500-600 1000 rupiah mein. But these are things. Those are the engine drivers, because. Oof, I'm not used to talking so much.
And anyway, there were a lot of guys hitting on me. You were one of them. I was saying no to everybody. You got lucky. You just got lucky, guys. Because I think I'm more apt I should have studied business management later on after architecture. But to make my things worse, I went and did urban design. Culturally so different, but smile यार, you're happy you married me, right? और मुझे तुम तो ऐसे दुखी दिख रहे हो, पता नहीं.